Greetings to all and sundry, my dear people of Ambazonia, my dear people of the Southern Cameroons, fellow brave warriors of our liberation movement. Accept liberation greetings from me, Comrade John Akuro. Today is Sunday, and today is the 13th of July, 2025. I'm delighted to be back here for us to have yet another session of, information, communication, and sensitization, where we mobilize ourselves towards ensuring that we are able to offer a free homeland to our people. I'm therefore delighted that you opened your doors to me at this moment, so we have a time of sharing. So I'd like to extend hearty regards to all our people of the Southern Cameroons. I'd like to extend hearty regards to all Amazonians, very hearty regards to all the people of the Southern Cameroons, wherever they may be you on ground zero, on ground one, ground two, in the diaspora, or in the dungeons, to our prisoners of war, prisoners of conscience, in the dungeons of La République du Cameroon, and others who are also incarcerated in other parts of the world, in the United States of America, in Norway, and wherever that you are fighting for our freedom. I'd like to extend hearty regards to each and every one of you. I also want to particularly extend hearty regards to our brave hearts who are continuing to fight to put their lives on the line, who are continuing to sacrifice everything God has ever given them to ensure that someday we'll have a place we call home. Thank you so much for your service. My dear people of Amazonia, before we begin today, let's share this thought. In a race between a lion and a deer, many times the deer wins because the lion runs for food and the deer runs for life. Remember, purpose is more important than need. Purpose is more important than need. I'll take it over again for those who may have challenges reading this directly on your screens. This thought of today says, in a race between a lion and a deer, many times the deer wins because the lion runs for food and the deer runs for life. Remember, purpose is more important than need. My dear people of Amazonia, in this liberation movement, a lot of the times we have seen the soldiers of La République du Cameroon hawking their weapons, hawking materials to our brave hearts and using the resources to run away. Why? Because they are fighting for the survival of a dead regime marked by a senile old fool known as Paul Biya being Vandal, who's 93 years old and diaper wearing, who 3/4 of the time during the day doesn't know where he is. Yes, because the soldiers of La République du Cameroon are fighting for reasons they themselves don't know. They are fighting a proxy war. They are fighting on behalf of the French Republic. They are outsmarted a lot of the time. I will not have the kind of resistance that our self-defense volunteers, our freedom fighters have. Because while our freedom fighters are involved in a battle for their very existence, for their very existence, because this is an existential battle for Southern Cameroonians. But for La République du Cameroon, it's a battle of colonial expansion, of territorial expansion, a battle to secure resources for their colonial power, France, for the imperialist power that's controlling in France. So at the base, right down there, most of those soldiers who come there, some of them, a lot of the times, don't even know what they are fighting for. That is why, despite their numerical strength, because they are in very huge number, despite their training, despite the resources, they have all the kinds of weapons that you would expect. For 8 years and counting, they have been unable to outdo ragtag fighters with no formal training, with no clear-cut organization, with nothing at all. They have been able to outdo them. That is why at least 8 years down the line, even with all the propaganda from members of the CPDM crime syndicate planted in our midst, calling themselves elites, ministers, senators, parliamentarians, mayors, and all of that crap. Despite all the propaganda from them and all of the money used for bribery and corruption, right to the core, buying even consciences in the various communities, they have not succeeded in either discouraging or overpowering our self-defense volunteers. That's why, over 8 years down the line, despite implementing minutiously the dictates of Niccolo Machiavelli, as Paul Biya said he does, and implementing the French policy of scorched earth, roasting down, burning down over 400 village communities, our people have not given up. Our self-defense volunteers are standing strong. That is why, despite opening some moribund useless thing called DDR and enforcing divide and rule to levels never before seen, trying to create confusion between the peoples, those of the southern zone, those of the northern zone, telling the people of the southern zone, or southwest, you are real enemy, and your brothers from the northwest, or trying to tell people from what they call northwest, you are real enemy, and people from the south. Despite doing that, I mean, doing it in a sustained manner, a sustained campaign, it has not worked. It has not helped them to overpower our brave hearts. Because we are involved in a fight for our own very existence, while La République du Cameroon is involved not only in a war of blame, but in a war of stealing resources, in a war of looking for extra food that doesn't belong to them. That is why I brought this thought here. That you see, in a race between a lion and a deer, the lion is swift, strong, or powerful, the king of the jungle. What is the deer? But you see, the deer wins many times. The deer wins because the lion is running for food, and the deer is running for dear life. Because the deer knows that this encounter right now is one of survival. As of my very existence, the deer is involved in a battle for its very existence. While for the lion, it's a luxury, just looking for food. If it doesn't get the deer, it will get something else. My dear people of Ambazonia, this is why a lot of the time when I come to this platform, I want us to understand that all of us ought to fight just like our brave hearts on ground zero, who are not giving up. They created all kinds of platforms. My country people know, infiltrated the ranks, brought even people within that were activists, and they were giving names or releasing information about positions of people so they should be killed. And they use all forms of brutality to make sure others will simply be afraid and be discouraged and not coming. You see, even the kind of evil tactics being used by a useless colonial SDO in Gokotundia calling himself Kwetong Anderson Konge, who is detaining months-old babies because he wanted to get at our self-defense volunteers. They said this battle is a battle for our own very existence. For that reason, there is no giving up. That is why you see that right now as we speak, the people in Tuba, that's including Bamboo, Bambili, and the environs, have now joined a lockdown in solidarity with Ngokutungia. The ones of Donga Mantu in several parts, Ndu and all, they have joined the lockdown in solidarity with the people of Ngokutungia. The ones of Bui, all the entire Bui, have joined that lockdown in solidarity with the people of Ngokutungia. And I understand that the people of Boyo are mobilizing to join. I think I haven't heard an audio like that. To join to in the lockdown in solidarity with Ngokutungia. This should tell Kwetong Anderson Konge and all like him that you don't even know what you are looking for. You don't even know what you're starting because you can't manage it. You can't earn it. When the people are fighting a fight for their very existence, oh yes, they never relent. They never relent. They will use all means at their disposal and they will go all the way until they get what they want. That is why our good friend Tibor Nagy, drawing from history, tweeted that the people of Amazonia will get exactly what they want. It is just a matter of time. Clear. Just a matter of time. History has it. There are no peoples who have stood up to fight legitimately for their freedom who have never succeeded in getting exactly what they want. This is why I take this opportunity always, my dear people of Amazonia, to urge all of us to make sure that we are standing strong, to make sure that we are continuing to pour our support into this liberation movement, to make sure that we are standing with all our peoples on ground zero, to make sure that we are providing the necessary assistance for the civilian population to continue to show the resistance that we are seeing. In a few hours, it will be Monday, 14 July. And there will be ghost towns all over the southern Cameroons. You see, the government of the Republic of Cameroon, through their parties, have deployed all kinds of means to kill these ghost towns, but it has not worked. Why? Because the people know that what they are involved in is a battle for our very existence. Because the people know that at the core of it all, we have to stand firm and stand strong. Otherwise, we won't have any way. Because we are drawing also from what Max Lucado says, that a season of suffering is a small assignment when compared to the reward. Rather than begrudge your problem, explore it, ponder it, and most of all, use it. Use it to the glory of God. So this season of suffering that we're involved in is a small assignment when compared to the reward that we are looking at right ahead, that we are expecting right ahead. That is why I will doff my heart to the people of Ngokotunja, to the people of Boyo, to the people of Bui, to those of Dongaman, to those in Tuba who have decided to stand strong. So for that reason, I know that there's a lot of pain. People are unable to travel into and out of Ngokotunja or get to Bui or get to Dongaman because you have to pass through North. And because in all of these places, when they shut down, it's shut down. So therefore, there is a lot of pain. But shockingly enough, I exchanged with a lot of our people at the base, on ground zero, in Ngokotunja, particularly in Du local government area, in Bui, in Boyo, and all of this, and especially in Ngokotunja, in Bamising. Some old women told me they were very excited that the boys decided to go all the way to take this kind of measure to stand to stand their grounds and make sure that they should release the people that they have held unjustly, especially pregnant women, lactating mothers with month-old babies in jail. And they said, although regrettably, the perpetrator is a son of Bamising, torturing children of Bamising, they were excited that they are going all the way. So they understand the meaning of this little sacrifice and the expected gains at the end. This is something we need to keep burying in our minds. That said, my people of Amazonia, if you are just joining, you're onto the JMA connection, and I will encourage you to share the link of this communication. Share the link as much as possible. Let's get many more of our compatriots to join us on this broadcast so that we continue to motivate and encourage ourselves. Like I said in the title, the die is cast. Now we know that La République du Cameroon will be having its presidential election on the 12th of October, 2025. Their non-existent president, to use their own words, their non-existent president, their nonagenarian, diaper-wearing, senile Paul Biya has emerged from wherever he is hiding, or he had done it by proxy, convened the electoral body for the 12th of October for the election of a president of the republic. And so, therefore, the political game in that country the ball has been set rolling, and the tensions are going to be mounting like seriously, because there's already been a lot of tension that we have seen, and we're seeing a lot of gimmicks ongoing. And of course, while there was a fight a few days ago between two members of Mr. Paul Biya's government, uh, Rene Emmanuel Sadi, Minister of Communication and spokesperson of that government, and Jacques Farmer Ndongo, uh, alias 32 giga égale, alias 5 giga égale 32 giga. Uh, so who is the communication secretary at the Central Committee of the ruling CPDM party, over whether it was guaranteed that Paul Biya will be a candidate. So that fight created tensions and actually brought to the fore, the fissures that have been going on in the background and the serious infighting that has characterized that government. So Mr. Paul Biya not only convened the electoral body, but he came out to take sides with Jacques Famandongo by saying in this tweet that, chers compatriotes du Cameroun et de la diaspora, considérant les défis que nous devons ensemble relever pour un Cameroun encore plus uni, stable et prospère, j'accepte de répondre favorablement à vos appels pressants. Je serai votre candidat à la prochaine élection présidentielle. So therefore, by this tweet, those who are tweeting on behalf of Paul Biya, because not himself, I'm not even sure he knows what is going on, not even sure he knows where he is, even at this moment that I'm talking to you all here. Of course, by this, they put an end to speculations as to whether Paul Biya is going to be candidate or not. So it's official. Paul Biya is candidate. Paul Biya has dared the people of the North. Paul Biya has dared Abubakar, Osman May, and the others, and said he's not taking no retirement, because of course we heard what Abubakar Osman May said to the family of President Paul Biya, and of course he has dared them that he is going to be candidate. And in La Republique du Cameroon, we all know, as long as Paul Biya is candidate, the result of the election are known in advance. And so there's still going to be another battle as to whether Maurice Kamto is going to be candidate or not. I don't know whether this one is really anybody's worry. But curiously, while I was sleeping peacefully last night, I heard someone whispered in my ears in my sleep that it would appear they finally did validate the candidature of Maurice Kamto. So if I go by that dream, then of course Maurice Kamto will be candidate, which means the spark may not come at that point. So we'll see where the spark comes. But even right up to this point, that the electoral body has been convened. Paul Biya has declared that he's going to be candidate. And even with my dream, that's just my dream, it's just a dream, come on. We may refer to it when things happen, because at about 70%, a lot of those on Paul Biya's team believe that they are going to bar Maurice Kamto from becoming candidate, and always swear that it is France that is trying to impose Maurice Kamto as candidate, because they say, according to their constitution, he should not be. And so I still posit that it is really unlikely that that election takes place. I still really doubt. It's for my personal analysis. I'm not saying the election will not take place. I still have that strong feeling that in the place of that election might be that Armageddon that we have been expecting and looking forward to all the time, because it is coming. Although you have heard them already complaining among themselves, crying among themselves, they need to do something among themselves. They need to close ranks. They need to work so closely and so tightly, because if the chaos they themselves are anticipating could come, if it does come, then they are likely giving an opportunity for the people of the Southern Cameroons to fully and finally succeed. So you see this, while they are conscious, while they are thinking about it, us, the people of the Southern Cameroons, what are we saying? We are the concerned. What are we saying? What are we doing? What action are we taking? People are sleeping, dreaming, hoping, that yes, something will be done at that time. How will it happen? By itself? Oh no, no, it will not happen by itself. It needs action. That's why I'll share this with you here. That a slave is one who waits for someone to come and free him. This is who a slave is. A slave is one who waits for someone to come and free him. Nobody will come from anywhere else to take advantage of any kind of chaos in the Republic of Cameroon to give us freedom. We have to do it ourselves. We have to prepare. Because I've said it and I'm repeating it. Success happens when opportunity meets preparation. If opportunity comes and meets disorder and all of those things, you will get nothing out of it. This is something, this is food for thought for us. This is something that should mobilize us to understand that we need to rise up from our slumber. We need to stop insulting each other. We need to stop telling ourselves, oh, I cannot listen to Mbakura, I cannot contribute, Mbakura, I cannot do. This is not what is important. What's important right now is how we are mobilizing to take advantage of the opportunities right before us. This is the most important thing at this time. So Paul Biya, yes, has declared he's going to be candidate. In the minds of the opposition, Paul Biya being candidate means Paul Biya winning. But what is the state of the field today? Is the state of the field today such that Paul Biya will just churn the whole thing through the elecam machine and nobody's going to say anything again? This is what we should be looking forward to. And for one thing, I like to say this, that Atanga Paul-G is a golden boy. Atanga Paul-G is our man. One thing is certain, Atanga Paul-G is going to make sure that peace does not reign. Atanga Paul-G is going to make sure that Republic of Cameroon does not have chaos. He's going to help so much in that regard. That's why you can see here already that Atanga Paul-G has gotten up from his slumber to say it is now time to investigate Alamin Usman May. Hey, that is now time to go after, I beg your pardon, Abu Bakr, not Alamin Usman. Abu Bakr Usman May. That's not time to go after Abu Bakr Usman May. Now you see, if we really say, okay, investigation should be open on him, they have to look for him and all of those things. Because you see, if they just start like that, just going without touching someone, then, I mean, peace will just be reigning. We need Atanga Paul-G with his overzealousness to come inside there and set the spark. You heard Abu Bakr Usman May say it plain. He's not afraid of anybody. He dared them. He has been talking, he has been talking for almost 2 years today, that he has been saying they will be ready. He didn't mince his words, that all options are on the table. And anyone who knows how these things happen, you go to the African proverb that says, when you see a toad just dancing carelessly in broad daylight, know that the drummer is in the bush. What should you note? That the drummer is in the bush. So, it will take naivety to imagine that Abu Bakr Usman May is just talking of his own volition, has no idea where he is, and thought that nobody will come after him, and do not anticipate that Atanga Paul-G will try to do what he's trying to do, and has no backing. Oh no, that would be extremely naive. If you are doubting, hear Abu Bakr Usman May again.
Mais si les gars résistent, on va aller jusqu'au bout. On va aller jusqu'au bout. On va effectivement armer les réacteurs. Ça va être tiré. Puisqu'on a déjà les codes.
Are you announcing
So did you hear that? This man is talking calmly. Look at his hair. Look at his body language. Calmly. So reassured. With all the airs of someone who knows exactly what he's counting on. That's what he says. That if they try to resist, they will go all the way to the end. And he says because they already have all what it takes, they are ready. That all what they need to do is activate the reactors. And boom, fire. He has been saying this. So where did Atanga Paul-G just get up from sleep a while ago? And of course, Paul Biya has dared them from the other end and said he will resist. I feel alive, but hear him again.
Of chaos, should the current regime
Tout
is
est,
maintained in power?
tout est sur la table. Mais si les gars résistent,
Do you hear that? So they asked him, so are you talking about chaos? That if the current regime, he said, all the options are on the table. Toutes les options sont sur ta table. Did you hear that? So he's not shy. He's not pretending. He's not talking in parables. He's not talking in tongues. He's not talking with water in his mouth. He's not talking with two sides of his mouth. He is straight to the point. All the options are on the table. I said earlier, if they try to resist, we will go all the way. Oh, yes. So now it has dawned on the Southerners that this thing may really not seem to be business as usual. And so, Ferdinand Ngongo, who was already putting himself at the helm of everything, usurping the powers of everyone, including the powers of the Secretary General of the Central Committee, they came to terms. Following what Joseph Betty Assomo, the Minister of Defense, told them that we will gain more by putting up a united front because things don't seem to be like they've always been before. The times now are different. The times now are critical. The tension that is out there is not the same like it used to be before. And the sparks that are likely to be unleashed right now warrant a united front. Because you know what happened? That Jacques Famendongo, Emmanuel René Sadi, and of course Ferdinand Gongo had a very hot one during a meeting that they had where the ministers converged. It really wasn't easy. And René Emmanuel Sadi went all the way to warn Gongo like somebody warning a baby. And they came to the understanding that it could make some sense to put a kind of public show of solidarity, at least from the southern perspective, because they are looking at the north. Although they are trying to do some divide and rule there, hoping they can hold something, they are not so certain how things turn out that way. That is why Jean Kwete summoned a meeting, and Gongo understood the need to attend that meeting. And at that meeting, the two men had to show some semblance of understanding, some semblance of talking to each other, some semblance of agreeing, some semblance of of synergy, because they need to put that public front. Oh yes, they have to work over time to get to that point. You can see from this video. Good. So see, for them, this visual is so important. For them, this visual is so important. Absolutely important. Because they think they need it to try to see how to galvanize their troops, to let them feel that, okay, there are not discordant voices in the system. But at the same time, while they are doing that, over up there in the north, there is also a rapprochement. You can see Bello Boba Maigari and Issa Chiruma Bakari, though they were in the same government with Paul Biya, they are foes. They have never seen each other eyeball to eyeball. Bello Boba Maigari accusing Issa Chiruma Bakari and Amadou Mustafa that they are the ones that punctured his moves of capturing power a long time ago by selling out to Paul Biya and joining Paul Biya's government without his knowledge. What finally forced him to see that, okay, it makes sense for him to make his own independent negotiations. And so each of them were in the Biya's government with their separate arrangements. But now, they too have seen the need to converge. What kind of convergence is going on in the background among the elite of the North who are not coming out public? That is something that the Bulu Ekambeti tribe and the alliances in the West Littoral and some of the lost souls in the southern Cameroons, they are trying to see exactly, to try to understand exactly what is going on. But my people of Ambazonia, it's complicated. The question to ask at this point is, in all of this, where are the people of the southern Cameroons? When you see the people of the various regions coming together, putting their acts together, trying to bond together to fight for their interests, the question you ask here is, where are the people of the southern Cameroons? Look at here. In the north, these are not children. These are what you call elites of that area. But in the southern Cameroons, all those who pass for our own elites are in the pockets, of the colonial system, are in the pockets of the oppressor, are in the pockets of that system that is killing their relatives, roasting down their village communities, stealing our resources with reckless abandon, raping their mothers, wives, children, and grandchildren, burning their people alive, wreaking havoc, looting the business community. No, they don't care. They don't bloody care. When we come back from this very short break, you will hear Issa Chiruma talk directly to the people of the southern Cameroons. It's amazing and it's marveling. Let's take a break. Welcome back from Manu County. That was the Monacan dance. Very beautiful dance, and very, very colorful right there. Oh my goodness. So, my people of Amazonia, you're welcome back. I have been saying this. It pains me sometimes when I have to say it, that while the people of the other regions of La République du Cameroun are recognizing that country is going to fly into pieces, and people are coming together to reason together, to pool resources together, to see how to make gains and protect their entities as a result of this fragmentation that is seemingly unavoidable. The people of the southern Cameroons are all, those so-called elites are all lost in Paul Biya's pockets, body, soul, and sinker. Those who are not lost inside there are standing aloof and hoping that a miracle will happen all by itself. Some are sleepy and getting up and simply praying, just praying. Praying is awesome, but prayer without work is next to uselessness. You have to pray, you have to work, you have to show God something that He will act on. That's the work I'm talking about. That's the effort that we are putting, so that God should complement this our effort, strengthen us, now give us the strength that we need to overcome, to get what we want. It is not in slumber and in mere wishful thinking that we will get to where we are going to. It is through hard work, toil, and labor. It is through sacrifice. Yes, sacrifice, re-sacrifice. That's why I said here a while ago that in effect, a season of suffering is a small assignment when compared to the reward. This is why we have to fight hard, fight like hell, and not continue sleeping. While others have observed already and are clear about it, that in La République du Cameroun, this is the end of an era. The people of the southern Cameroons are still thinking that there is some future with Paul Biya. No, no. When you get to the end of an era, you think ahead. You don't lie on your laurels. Let's listen to Issa Chiroma Bakari.
Aujourd'hui, malheureusement, le président de la République est atteint par l'âge. Il n'a plus le pouvoir physique avec ses contraintes, ses exigences. Il n'a plus la force pour exercer. Donc, lui au pouvoir aujourd'hui, en vérité, ce n'est pas lui qui gouverne. Aujourd'hui, malheureusement, le président de la République...
Can you hear that? Issa Chiroma Bakari says exactly what they, the Northerners, have taken time, studied, and observed. He doesn't mince words. He says clearly that Paul Biya in power right now, Paul Biya no longer has the moral, the physical, and the intellectual capacity to run a country. He doesn't even have the physical capacity to be available, to be present. That is why he is lost. That is why Dieudonné Esomba said on Vision 4 that un Paul Biya qui n'existe plus. He doesn't exist anymore. Talk less of living. And so therefore, having him in power, it's clear that he is not the one in charge. Someone else, another clan is in charge. Reason why the people of the North say, as far as Biya is concerned, it's over. And so it is time to look ahead. It is time to turn the page. It is time to stop being governed by proxy. It's time to stop being governed by a picture. Oh yes, he says it clear, they don't mince words. So the Northerners are aware that although they had vowed they were going to support Paul Biya all the way and be with him all the way to the end, it is clear to them that the end has come. Time for them to take their destinies into their own hands. What are the people of the Southern Cameroons doing? We will get to that. Let's go again to another cut from Issa Chiroma. Technical department, please play that cut.
On s'aperçoit que, par exemple, durant les 14 dernières années, le chef de l'État qui préside aux destinées de notre nation, qui veille à ce que toutes les institutions se déroulent normalement, n'a pas organisé un seul conseil de ministres. La deuxième observation, le président de la République nous donne l'impression d'être distant. C'est à croire que le pouvoir a cessé de lui procurer le plaisir, l'honneur de présider au destin.
So you hear this? Issa Chiroma Bakari says, the evidence that Biya is nowhere to be found anymore, that he's no longer the one in charge, is that for the past 14 years, listen well, 14 years, Paul Biya has not held a single council of ministers. Not one. Not one. So Biya does not exist. So it's someone else, some other people. Of course, it's exactly those 14 years ago that Paul Biya signed off all his powers to the Secretary General of the Presidency, whom he named Minister of State. And Issa Chiroma Bakari says the second observation is that even if he is still there, then he's no longer interested in power. He's no longer interested in running the country because he is not seen anywhere, despite the fact that he is supposed to be the guarantor of the effective functioning of all states' institutions. He is supposed to be the guarantor of peace. He is supposed to be the guarantor of, the development of the country and of the effective cohesion that should reign among the various institutions of the state. But he is not there. That's what Issa Chiroma Bakari says. He's not finished. Let's follow it.
De notre nation. Par exemple, au niveau du gouvernement, aujourd'hui, il y a 4 ministres qui sont décédés, qui n'ont pas été remplacés. Nous observons également qu'il y a ce journaliste qui a été assassiné, victime d'une conspiration, assassiné de manière brutale, sauvage. Cela a suscité l'émoi de la nation en particulier, du monde en général. Jusqu'à présent, il n'y a pas eu de suite. Les populations s'interrogent. Nous qui étions ses collaborateurs, on s'interroge. Qu'est-ce qui justifie, qu'est-ce qui explique cette distance vis-à-vis du pouvoir? Le chef de l'État nous donne l'impression d'être autiste.
Did you hear that? So he says, yet another evidence, another piece of evidence. 4 members of government are dead. 4 members of government, that's ministers and assimilated, are dead. None of them have been replaced. Because Paul Biya is nowhere. Paul Biya, since the time he formed the government, bringing in John Gute as prime minister, of course, Paul Biya used to form government every 2 years. He has not been able to form a single government. 4 ministers have died. None of them have been replaced. And then Issa Chiruma says that horrible things have happened in the country, including terrible assassinations, including such as the assassination of Martinez Zogo, the journalist. He says, which has caused the entire international community to be alarmed. A lot of ink has been flowing. So much has been said. But nothing is happening this far, and no one has heard one word from Paul Biya concerning it. Now, I want you to take note of something. Take very important note of something here. Something very important here. It might have escaped your gaze. Those of you who have already listened to these statements by Issa Chiruma Bakari, because everywhere there. But it might have escaped our gaze, escaped the gaze of the people of the Southern Cameroons. Issa Chiruma considers that during the past 14 years, the most horrible thing that has happened, that Paul Biya has not been seen anywhere saying anything or doing anything about it, or even going to the field about it, is the assassination of Martinez Zogo. Issa Chiruma doesn't talk about the war in the Southern Cameroons, the genocidal war conflict, the genocidal conflict that the Republic of Cameroon has initiated in the Southern Cameroons. He doesn't say that Paul Biya, for all these 8 years and counting, has not been anywhere in the Southern Cameroons. If he showed that it really meant a thing to him. But you see, even Issa Chiruma Bakari is letting us know that what is going on in the Southern Cameroons really doesn't concern him very much. It really doesn't concern La République du Cameroon. Because if it did, he will not skip over something that has claimed thousands of lives and over 4,000 to 5,000 lives of soldiers of La République du Cameroon, of men and women in uniform of La République du Cameroon. He doesn't mention that one. Because like you see, it's a foreign war. If you are a Southern Cameroonian, you are an Ambazonian, you are watching me, you are listening to this, and you think it's okay for you to be silent, for you to be inactive in the struggle that we are leading to free our homeland, then you need to ask yourself a lot of questions. Because it's amazing. He didn't mention Samuel Wazizi. There's been a lot of ink to flow about Samuel Wazizi. Although not as much as Martinez Zogo, because of course Martinez Zogo is a citizen. Samuel Wazizi is a sub-citizen. Samuel Wazizi is a second-class human being. He's not even a full-blown human being. Maybe it's 3/4 of a human being. So you see that. If these things don't tell you a thing, what I want us to do, observe the political actors that are on the scene right now. Listen to them critically, and you will be able to understand with me from A to Z that Southern Cameroon to them is an appendix. Southern Cameroons to them is a farm. It's a farm for resources. A territory they must fight tooth and nail to keep for France. Let's finish with Issa Chiruma.
Dans de son rapport avec le gouvernement, nous constatons plusieurs symptômes qui convergent vers ce qu'on peut appeler le syndrome de fin de règne. Le gouvernement de la République a cessé d'être un instrument au service de la République. Le gouvernement est aujourd'hui un instrument au service de puissances occultes. Alors,
okay, he says clear that everything that is happening with Paul Biya now clearly indicates the syndrome of the end of an era. And then he says a government that's supposed to be at the service of the people is no longer at the service of the people. It is now at the service of occult forces. au service des forces occultes, at the service of some occult forces. How did we find ourselves in this whole setup? How do we belong? How on earth do we belong? Who did this to us? We should keep asking ourselves these questions. Let's finish with Issa Chiroma.
Ce pouvoir occulte, comme j'en ai parlé tout à l'heure, c'est aussi divisé en deux clans. Il y a un clan qui appartient à telle famille, à telle caste, et l'autre clan qui appartient aussi à telle autre famille, à telle enseigne que ce pouvoir, relevant de la souveraineté du peuple, se trouve donc accaparé par ces deux groupes qui se battent pour le triomphe de leurs intérêts, mais surtout qui se battent dans la perspective du changement du chef de l'État à la tête de la nation. J'avais pris la décision de l'accompagner jusqu'à la fin.
So you hear that? Issa Chiroma is again clear that these occult forces have been broken into two, representing two families, two clans, that's two families that are in an intestinal fight for power to protect their interests. This family and the other one. He didn't call the names, but we know. So he's talking here of the family of Shanta Biya Nanga, Nanga Eboko, and those of Paul Biya from Mayome Sala. You want to know again how it is clearly demarcated? The civil cabinet is in charge of the Bulus, the people from the south and the center, the Biya family, especially from the south, and the Secretary General, man by Ngongo, is for the Nanga, the people of the Nanga, from Nanga Eboko, Shantabia. Those are the two forces that are fighting. The two occult forces are fighting to devour each other. And what is the interest of the people of the southern Cameroonians in all this? What is the bicycle really doing at the gas station? What is our role? Why should we be there? Why should we be hanging there? Why should we continue to attach ourselves there? And that is why Issa Chiroma says, because they have made this clear observation, they now know, they now understood that it was time to put an end to their alliance and collaboration with Paul Biya, because Paul Biya is not only inexistent, Paul Biya is not only autistic right now, as he said, Paul Biya is not only suffering from total dementia. Of course, we saw that in display in the United States of America. We saw that in France. We saw that when it was in China. But Paul Biya is totally and completely inexistent. And so therefore, their alliance or their determination before that they were going to walk the path of Biya all the way to the end has to end, because Biya has ended. And in its place are some occultic conflicting forces representing two voracious families. That is why the Northerners, says Issa Chiroma Bakari, and of course Abubakar Osman May, are ready to do the needful. Are we ready to do the needful when the time comes? Is Southern Cameroons ready to do the needful when the time comes? Or our own people, are they busy being soaked in crumbs? My dear people of Ambazonia, we must get up from our slumber. Let's finish up.
Fin de sa carrière. Malheureusement, il se trouve, le chef de l'État est inaccessible, il est invisible. Aujourd'hui, ne sachant à quel sens se vouer, compte tenu de l'impossibilité donc d'être en contact avec lui, pour discuter, partager avec lui, je me suis trouvé dans la nécessité, dans l'obligation de retirer mon engagement que je lui avais fait pour l'accompagner jusqu'à la fin de sa carrière. Cette décision ne procède pas du hasard, mais plutôt d'une très longue observation du rapport du chef de l'État avec la gouvernance.
Can you hear that? That's the end of it. He says very plainly that they have struggled to meet Paul Biya in vain. They have fought. Even John Gute, who is sitting there, that is Prime Minister, who is supposed to meet the President of the Republic twice a week, Ask John Gute the last time he saw Biya. Ask John Gute the last time he even had an idea where Paul Biya is. That's the unfortunate situation. And Isaac Chiruma says, they didn't get to this conclusion just by error. They have taken time and observed very clearly that Paul Biya had lost control. That Paul Biya is absolutely invisible and inexistent at the helm of the state. So for that reason, there is no point talking Paul Biya. Paul Biya is right now, as far as the people of the north are concerned, he's in the past. And that is why Abubakar Othman said he was calling on the family of Paul Biya to help him to get a dignified retirement. Otherwise, they will force his hand. Oh, I didn't say it. They said it. Now, while all this is going on, what is happening to the people of the southern Cameroons? As usual, the people are there fighting for second position, for fiddle position, for crumbs, getting lost in the crumbs, and getting lost in always standing on the second or third row. Yeah. And of course, as our Republic of Cameroon says, while we may be locked in this very delicate battle, these our slaves, we need to throw a bone that should set them fighting each other again with more intensity while we finish clearing our differences and come back and meet them. So they came out with this. I'm sure you have all seen this document saying some obscure company somewhere has been authorized to, sign a contract or sign something for the construction of a deep sea port in Limbe. My dear people of Ambazonia, I feel like laughing because I was thinking that by now our people should have understood this gimmicks. This is not the first time that they have dangled things about a certain construction of a deep sea port in Limbe. This is not the first time. No, they have done that before, over and over and over. This will not be the first time. Huh? You see, they say, because it's a document, le ministre d'État, secrétaire général à la présidence, that's presidency of the republic. Is the presidency of the republic talking, eh? Okay. Monsieur le secrétaire général des services du premier ministre, c'est faisant suite à votre correspondance d'objets et de références susvisées, j'ai l'honneur de vous notifier l'accord de la présidence de la République pour la signature du protocole d'entente MOU entre le ministère des Transports et la société Yenigun Construction pour la réalisation du projet de port en eau profonde de Limbe dans le cadre d'un partenariat public-privé, PPP, de type BOT, Build, Operate, Transfer. Listen, folks. So, and this is signed the 7th of July. Now, if you take a look at this document, you tell yourself, but wait a minute. Are these people really thinking we are dunces? Are these people really thinking we are fools? Did they use build, operate, transfer to construct a deep sea port in Limbe? Did they need to wait to come through these channels to get it? Why is Zacchaeus Fondindam in jail? Zacchaeus Fondindam is in jail because of this same deep sea port in Limbe. And today, they come and tell us that at the verge of an election, which is not so certain, they are not so certain about how it's going to go. They say they have signed a contract, that they are authorizing the signing of a contract for the construction of a deep sea port in Limbe. And it will not be that they are constructing, it's not the government, it's build, operate, and transfer. So it will be constructed, but it will be owned by whoever is constructing it, and they will exploit it until they have recovered their resources. Is that what they did in Pribi? Yenigun Construction is a Turkish company because I took time to find out. They say Turkey's powerful construction company, Yenigun Insat. They say Yenigun Construction is a powerful Turkish company that has completed numerous projects in Turkey and abroad since 1973 without compromising on quality. Of course, that's what they are saying about themselves. So Yenigun is a Turkish concern. So they say sign a contract for build, operate, and transfer. Let me tell you, folks, Biya came in person, standing physically, could be seen, could be felt, could be touched. In 1990, in Bamenda, and announced that he will personally supervise the ring road. To this day that I'm talking about, 1990 to 2025, well, actually, that's about 35 good years. 35 good years. That ring road is still a talk of conversation until now. They got to some point say they are doing it in patches. By the time they finish by the time they engage the second patch, the first patch is already getting dilapidated. By the time they get to the third patch, the second patch is getting dilapidated, and the first patch is already needing rehabilitation. That is the Biya government for you. This is not the first time they talk about the Limbe Deep Sea Port. The purpose of this is not about constructing that port. They know it. The purpose is to go back to their own spot. That is, reinforce, divide and rule between the people of the southern Cameroons. Amplify hatred between the people of the southern Cameroons. This is a bone that they throw. So that they will use this to tell the people of the southern zone, you see, those people of the northern zone, they have nothing. They don't have this kind of thing. They cannot have it. So if they are fighting that they want to succeed, it's because they are looking at your resources. They want, but this one, oh, nothing. This is all that this is about. And it is carefully calculated in collaboration with France. It's not a mistake that it's not a French company it is given to. No, they know. They say if they say it's a French company, it's going to cause a lot of war, so they turned around. They say, let's do something like this. Let's play this game. Because they anticipate that there is going to be so much chaos in their country. But there must be something that will hold us down from taking advantage. Yeah, that's why they are throwing that. Why they are throwing that in the southern zone? In the northern zone, what is happening? Of course, they are constructing beacons. If anybody can make the contrast, you understand exactly what we are talking about here. They are constructing beacons. This is another beacon constructed in Bali Nyonga. That's being inaugurated in the picture that you are seeing. Prior to this one, they constructed one in Batibo. Before the one in Batibo, they constructed one in Kambe. They have constructed another one in Menchu. All what the people of the southern Cameroons, especially those of the northern, deserve are beacons, are extreme militarization. If you are not an occupied territory, they don't do this kind of thing. That is what this is. If you are still deep asleep, still confused as to what is going on, I'm here to help you understand what is going on. This is exactly what is going on. And useless so-called elite, stupid fools, come and stand there. Sorry about calling them fools, but unfortunately, that's the only word that describes it. Come and stand there. And they are celebrating. They even bring to open that there are dance groups to come and dance. That they are building a structure that represents their oppression. This is what it is. My dear people of Amazonia, I'll be back on this set. I'll be back on this platform. I want to stop here because I know we're already long. But what I want to say, and say repeatedly, is that we must learn. We must learn that success is never picked and handed to anybody on a platter of gold. Freedom is not free. Freedom is not free. You have to fight for what you believe in. You have to fight for your freedom. That's why, before I go, I have to reiterate what I shared at the beginning. That in a race between a lion and a deer, many times the deer wins because the lion runs for food and the deer runs for life. Remember, purpose is more important than need. In our case, our purpose is freedom. For La République du Cameroon, their need is territorial expansion, is for aggression. Their need is fighting a proxy war to protect the interests of what they call in La République du Cameroun, La Métropole, France. So, folks, we need to remain strong. We need to stay alert. We need to stay awake. We need to rise up from our slumber. We need to fight, because it's only by fighting like hell that we will restore the soul of our land. Thank you for your kind attention. Share the links as much as you can and make sure we get ever more people to join this platform. And most especially, if you're not yet subscribed, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for your kind attention. To God be the glory.